Greetings, and welcome to your Sunday edition of Dapper's Playhouse. I'm your excellent host Dapper, and this is my playhouse. And welcome you are. Hey, if it's your first time, what we like to do, normally, search these TikToks, find you cool stuff. Funny stuff, educational stuff, all kinds of stuff. But every now and again, I like to do something a little different. So I'm going to keep with that. So tonight, home with monsters. That's right, monsters. Classic monsters. New monsters. Some monsters of the deep. Just overall monsters. 'Tis the season after all. So hey, hopefully this is right down your alley. And if not, hey, maybe it'll grow on you. Maybe check this one out. I don't know what to tell you. But there wouldn't be no movies today without those classic monsters of yesteryear. So hey man, sit back, relax, get you some snack, maybe a libation, hang out, try to keep it concise, not too long, but here we go. Hold on to your shorts.
Even after lying around for 3 years, today's Duracell batteries still have up to 90% of their life. There's a date that proves it. So you've got nothing to be afraid of. Today's Duracell, date-coded for 3-year storage.
I don't know what you think, guys. Think it's monsters? It's a little naughty. That was. Yeah, you do.
The Flatwoods Monster, also known as the Braxton County Monster or the Phantom of Flatwoods, is a cryptid that originated from an alleged encounter in Flatwoods, West Virginia, on September 12, 1952. It is one of the most famous cases in American cryptid lore and UFO sightings. The encounter. Date, September 12, 1952. Location, Flatwoods, Braxton County, West Virginia. Witnesses, a group of 6 local boys and 1 adult reported seeing the creature after observing a bright light streak across the sky and crash into a nearby hill. Description. Witnesses described the Flatwoods Monster as height, 7 to 10 feet tall. Shape, a tall, humanoid figure with a metallic, robotic appearance. Head, a spade-shaped head with glowing red eyes. Body, cloaked or skirt-like lower half, resembling a dress. Features, it had claw-like hands and emitted a foul, sulfurous odor. Some descriptions portrayed it as mechanical or robotic rather than biological, contributing to theories about extraterrestrial origins. Theories and explanations. 1. Extraterrestrial hypothesis. Many believe the monster was an alien being, possibly associated with a UFO sighting reported earlier in the area. 2. Owl theory. Skeptics suggest it could have been a barn owl perched on a tree branch, reflecting light and appearing eerie. 3. Mass hysteria. Others argue that it was a case of mass hysteria, fueled by Cold War-era fears of invasions and UFOs. 4. Meteor sightings. The bright light seen before the encounter may have been a meteor, which added to the mystery and fear of the event.
The Mad Monster Party is the coolest movie you've never seen. It's created by the same company who made Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I don't know why it's not on Halloween nights. It features Boris Karloff, who played the original Frankenstein. This movie's amazing. Watch it now.
Check that out.
The classic Universal monster movies represent a fascinating intersection of cultural anxieties, moral allegories, and artistic innovation. These films, centered around iconic creatures like Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, and the Wolfman, resonate with audiences because they embody a wide range of psychological, societal, and existential themes. In 2020, director Leigh Whannell modernized the classic character, the Invisible Man, by bringing forward themes current to our time. And now, he's back with Wolfman.
My husband was infected by some kind of animal. Like, you're scaring me. Back up!
Rated R, theaters January 17th.
So, in anticipation of the film's January 17th release, I wanted to break down the history and origins of this classic Universal monster.
There, she's on it.
Halloween is divine, darling. A night when the shadows whisper secrets and the moon bathes us in its ghostly glow.
Awesome.
It's okay. As long as we have this blanket, the monster can't get us. Oh shit!
See ya.
This is the weirdest extinct animal ever discovered. Scientists have been trying to figure out what it is and what it's related to for decades. They call it the Tully monster, alive 300 million years ago. The Tully monster has some very strange and unique characteristics, like this trunk-like snout with the claw at the end. That's their mouth. That has 2 rows of teeth inside of it, and their eyes are on stalks that extend sideways. Those traits aren't seen on any other animal. So what is the Tully monster? For a long time, it was thought they were invertebrates, animals that don't have a backbone. But in 2016, scientists seemed to solve the mystery by identifying vertebrate characteristics using over 1,200 fossil specimens. Using what they found, it was determined that lampreys are probably their closest living relative, a type of jawless fish. But a lot of other scientists don't really agree with this classification and think there's a lot of evidence pointing to them being invertebrate, like they initially thought. So the Tully monster is still a huge mystery.
Good times. Oh yeah. Throwing in some monsters, Addams Family.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Want to get creeped out? Let's talk about real zombies. Some of you may have seen the video I did on real vampires. This led me down a rabbit hole and led me to an article about real zombies. Because there are really weird things in nature that could lead to real zombies. Nature has this way of controlling creatures and it's wild. The first thing was zombie ants. There's a certain type of fungus that takes over carpenter ants and basically turns them into zombies, makes them lose their minds. The fungus kind of feeds on the ant and will grow inside and outside of the ant. And essentially, they say it's fungus in an ant's clothing. Like the fungus becomes the ant, if that makes sense. The fungus takes over the muscle fibers of the ant and forces the ant to move the way the fungus wants it to move. It will force the ant to crawl up towards higher vegetation, which encourages the spread of this fungus. So these ants will climb up whatever vegetation they find to the highest point and basically just be stuck there until they... But then we've got zombie spiders. So basically there is a type of wasp that can manipulate spiders and drive them to their death. Manipulation is just wild to me. Researchers have stated they've never seen this type of manipulation in nature. The type of spider that the wasp does this to is a very social spider. They always stick with their colony, they always stick together. How researchers discovered this is they found one of these spiders far away from its colony and they were like, what the fuck? This spider was spinning a cocoon that it would normally never spin. And they were shooketh to discover that it was actually wasp larvae in the cocoon. This didn't make a lick of sense to them. Further research led to the discovery. So these wasps would lay their eggs on the abdomen of the spider. The larvae would take full control of its host, causing the spider to stray away from its colony, which is so unusual for these spiders. Then the spider would start to spin a cocoon for the wasp larvae so that it could help it grow into an adult wasp. However, before entering the cocoon, the larvae would eat the spider. Like, oh, you just did all this for me and now I'm just gonna eat you. So this wasp takes complete control and manipulation of the spider, hijacks its brain and functions, and then devours it. It gets the spider to do something it would normally never do, stray away from its colony and spin a cocoon that it would never spin. Now this is where things get very creepy. We're not talking about spiders anymore, by the way. There is something called the reanimated virus. In 2014, researchers dug a fascinating find out of the Siberian permafrost. This was an organism called a giant virus, and it was about 30,000 years old. Giant viruses are still tiny, by the way, they're just easier to see under a microscope. This DNA virus holds 500 genes, which is super unusual. For comparison, the HIV virus only holds about 12 genes. Researchers state that because of the size of the virus and the amount of genes it holds, that makes it extremely dangerous, because that means this virus can stick around for a very long time. So what does this virus do? It reanimates things that are not alive. It brings them back to life. This particular organism was not capable of bringing animals and humans back to life, but researchers warn that there could absolutely be a virus out there that's capable of doing this. And if you've seen enough scary movies, you know that bringing someone back to life isn't what people want it to be. But there are sometimes variables in nature that can take control of a living thing, and that's really scary. Though the body might still be there, it's no longer in control. It's no longer making its own choices for itself. Whether it's a fungus, a wasp, or a giant virus, it's taking over this living thing's instincts and making its choices for the living thing. Global warming and human action like digging and excavating are what could cause these types of organisms and viruses to resurface. Lastly, there's also a psychiatric disorder that causes people to believe that they are zombies. It causes a delusion that they're either unalived or decomposing. There was a case study of a 53-year-old woman who had this syndrome. She described smelling like rotten flesh and that she wanted to be taken to the morgue. Anyways, this is all just some food for thought. It really reminds me of Bird Box and how it's possible for something like that to happen, where something takes over the human body and causes it to go feral and wild. I don't know, I think it's scary. What do you guys think?
Who are the monsters? Let me tell you. In the Labubu universe, there are tons of monsters, so let me start with Zimomo. Zimomo is the leader of the Labubu tribe. There is only one Zimomo in a whole Labubu tribe, that is the Alpha. Zimomo is adventurous, and Zimomo, unlike Labubu, has a tail. Taikoko is Labubu's boyfriend. Taikoko is a skeleton who is shy and gentle, and is vegetarian. Makoko is Labubu's special friend. She is pink and girly. Makoko is popular in their own right. They have their own plush pendant, not in the US. But Potmer does have a dedicated blind box series called Finding Makoko, where Makoko comes out as the secret. Pippo is a freedom-loving elf creature who lives in the river, enjoys life to the fullest, and likes wine and parties all the time. I know Spooky looks like a dumpling, but he's actually a snowman. He's quiet and curious. Pato is a big dreamer and he comes up with clever plans all the time. The only thing we know about Puka is that he lives in the forest. I know, I wish I knew more too. Monster Boy looks like a normal boy, but he's actually a monster with horns on his head. Boss is Taikoko's cousin and is also Labubu's master. He's an extrovert and loves to drink. And last but not least, Yaya, who loves to explore but has a terrible sense of direction. And that's all the information I know about the monsters. Let me know if you have any more questions in the comments below.
I have met this monster once before. 3 years ago, in the dead of night, I hauled one of these giants from the freezing depths of a Norwegian fjord.
I am Dracula. Oh, it's really good to see you.
What's wrong with Dracula? He's losing his monster power. So is Frankenstein. Quick, it's the Monsterizer.
You can activate the Monsterizer, batteries not included, and imagine you're restoring monster power to Frankenstein. Figures sold separately. You crank him into the chamber. It closes automatically.
Activate the Monsterizer. I feel like a monster.
The Monsterizer comes complete as shown. Frankenstein and Dracula figures are sold separately. New from Remco.
When I was really young, my favorite film that I used to love to watch the most was The Mummy. It was freaky and fun and absolutely beautifully done. Boris Karloff was so frightening. I was fascinated. I always thought when I grow up, I either want to be a makeup artist or I want to be an archaeologist. Funny, right?
Most interesting.
I used to love to watch this film and try to figure out how they did that makeup. Jack Pierce was a legendary makeup artist who inspired so many of us. It took him 8 hours to do that mummy makeup and 2 hours to take him out.
Good heavens, what a terrible curse.
He got these old linen wraps and he boiled them down so they were just literally almost falling apart. And then he laid them on with spirit gum and clay. So when the mummy actually started moving, the clay would start popping. That's really scary for a little kid.
Do not be afraid.
Maybe it's too late. Is that thing real?
I think it's just a prop.
Okay. Ah! Whoa, my candy! It's a robot! I knew it! Ha, that got me so good.